Jada, you
Gorsh.
went and Jada, you reviewed Horizon Adventures, Lego Adventures
Yes,
of Horizon.
Lego Horizon Adventures.
What is it? How is it?
It's good. It's very good. My review will be live by the time everybody's watching this. I gave it a 7 out of 10. It is very good. It does some really cool, interesting things that a lot of Lego games don't, but it also is lacking on a little bit of that extra content that Lego games also generally offer. So things like a cheat menu or a wide cast of characters or unlocking, silly things like 8-bit music or hidden, having cool puzzles and things you have to solve and stuff.
They got rid of the cheat menu?
Yeah, there's no cheat menu in.
What?
At least that I have found. I haven't found it. It took me 21 hours to get the platinum trophy, 12 hours to finish the campaign. But there was no spot I've seen for a cheat menu. There's nowhere to rewatch like the cutscenes and the videos. There's no way to replay old missions.
So what do those gold bricks do then?
The gold bricks are so both the gold and red bricks now, and this is gonna sound like we're kind of getting into the negative portions of my the review.
Okay.
But
I've played all these games, so like that's the kind of stuff that I love.
Yeah, so like the gold bricks and red bricks now are kind of relegated to unlocking various costumes or town customizations, because there's the town of Mother's Heart, which is kind of your hub world that if you've played Horizon Zero Dawn, you'll recognize Mother's Heart. It's that kind of first village you visit that, Aloy gets cast out of because she's different, blah, blah, blah. Well, she's a baby, but whatever. Anyways, so you get to customize and do a lot of stuff in there, and there's a lot of really cool customization. The customizations, I think, are by far kind of like the best, one of my favorite things about this game, because there's so many different costumes. You can dress up as all the different Ninjago characters. They have the whole amusement park theme, so you can dress up as like a circus worker. You could dress up as a hot dog, a chicken, all types of really weird things, and that's all fully reflected as you're going through the story. So like in this game, Aaron, if you remember Aaron, he's one of Aloy's friends. He has a big hammer. He has an obsession with donuts. And so I dressed him up like a chef for most of the playthrough because it just seemed to make sense for him to be dressed as a chef. Varl, one of the other Nora hunters, one of Aloy's other friends who's also there, he has a penchant for comic books and superheroes in this, and one of his idols is Hot Dog Man and the sidekick Hot Dog Dog. So I dressed him up as a hot dog for a good chunk of the campaign. So I was just going through Horizon, in random costumes constantly, and it just tonally, it's all humor. It's just a lot of fun. The writing is excellent. I was laughing from start to finish. Some of the jokes are a little corny, but they still had me chuckling, and it just gets amplified when you have them wearing these super ridiculous costumes. Combat is great in this game. There's 5 difficulty settings, from story mode up to hero. Hero really puts some good challenge in it. It's not Elden Ring difficulty, obviously, 'cause it's a Lego game, but you still die in 1 to 2 hits, which is kind of Elden Ring-ish.
That is surprising, actually. Yeah.
And so going into, some of these fights and stuff, if you weren't prepared or didn't have the right gadgets, sometimes made fights a lot trickier than they were. They've got the whole focus mechanic where you can target specific body parts and knock things off for extra experience or drops for other items you can use.
Jada,
But yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff in this. The combat's really good. Level design is a little...
It was like a revive for local co-op. Is that a thing?
Yeah, so in local co-op you can revive. So that's another thing. I'm torn if it's better or worse than other Lego games, because correct me if I'm wrong, but in other Lego games, when you die, you basically just kind of blink out, you fall apart, you lose some studs, and then you rebuild, and then you continue going. Horizon doesn't do that. In Horizon, if you die, if you're playing co-op, both people die, it takes you back to the beginning of the area of that zone. They're very small zones, so it's not like you're losing a lot of progress, but it does, it's like a 10, 15, 20 second walk back to the arena if you're dying multiple times.
Sure.
But you retain experience because this one's more of an RPG, so you level up and get more health, more damage, a bunch of other really cool things that you can augment your playstyle with.
Jade, I got to ask you, what's the goal here? I'm kind of curious. Does this take place between the first or second game? This is
the original story? it's a playful retelling of the first game.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it is basically Horizon Zero Dawn. It's in my review, I think it's like my kickoff to my review. It's basically the movie version of a book that you've read and liked.
Gotcha.
Like it's got the big moments, it's got the characters you like. But it changes some events. It takes some liberties with events and how things play out and the dialogue and stuff like that. It changes all those little things, but the core story is still there. It still has, Aloy and her search for where she came from, her origin story kind of thing. It's got that kind of element.
It kind of reminds me of, from what you've told me, kind of reminds me of, back in the day when you'd get a licensed game that's based on a movie. And it's
it's kind of like that, but it's done in Lego form. And I think it's kind of, it's great. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. It just was missing some features and stuff that I was really hoping to kind of carry it longer through playing. Because once I finished everything, I was kind of like, well, that's it. I'm kind of done. And I guess that, you can say that about most games. But I feel like with other Lego games, when I've rolled credits, I feel like there's always so much more stuff to do. And I felt like this one kind of fell shorter in that aspect. Almost all the original voice actors are back. So Ashley Birch, John Hopkins, John McMillan, they're all back reprising their roles and they're fantastic. I think this is probably some of my favorite work from Ashley Birch because she is really diving into that Tiny Tina energy, that, hey, Ash, what you playing? Very just chaotic fun, but still maintaining that voice of Aloy and just having a really good time with it. And all the characters are doing that. The only character that didn't work for me, unfortunately, is Sylens. They recast Sylens, obviously, because Lance Reddick passed away last year.
Right.
And they brought in a new voice actor, and it's a very well-known actor. It's Tim Russ of Star Trek Voyager fame. And it just didn't work for me. And Sylens has always been a more reserved character in the Horizon franchises, but he's has a very sharp wit. Mm-hmm. Anytime you've talked with them, and he's very very quick to clap back and have these really just snarky comments that are all just kind of commands your attention when you're talking to him. And in this one, it just fell a little flat for me, unfortunately. Now I don't know if Tim Russ is it's huge shoes to fill, and I'm personally glad he didn't try to play it the same as Lance Reddick, because I think it would have come across even worse. Mm-hmm. Because you're imitating, and he tried to make it his own thing. This version of Sylens didn't work for me. They did make him a DJ in the post-apocalypse, which is kind of fun and kind of cool. And so I really liked a lot of the character quirks of him. I just didn't like a lot of the dialogue and cutscenes with him. It just kind of fell flat for me.
So you've mentioned a lot of comedy attached to the characters and rooted around the characters. Mm-hmm. And based on the gameplay that I've seen of this, I haven't really noticed quite as much humor in the world around you. In the other Lego games I play, you go around a corner in the Death Star and there's stormtroopers building a bunk bed or something, or somebody's having a pizza party, that kind of thing. Is there still stuff like that scattered throughout?
There's a little bit of that. So the character, there's a lot more. The characters are a lot more talkative, the actual player characters, whoever you're playing as. So Tirsa, the village elder, she uses bombs. If you pick up freeze bombs, she while walking around, she's like, oh, it's about to get all frozen wilds up in here, which is obviously the expansion for the first game. And and there's a bunch of those little types of quips and stuff.
Interesting. That
happens with the characters in your party. There's not as much environmental characters. That's where I was kind of getting in with the level design being a little too predictable. Gotcha. It's kind of explore for 30, 45 seconds, minute, and then jump into a fight. Explore again, jump into a fight. There's no hidden areas. There's sometimes vines that you need to burn in the environment to find a chest. But the only thing you're getting out of chests are studs or the potential items to use in combat, which are rare weapons ice arrows or a fire spear, things like that. And so it didn't really reward exploration. And if you didn't have a fire weapon around one of those kind of leafy walls, you're just kind of SOL. You just couldn't get to that chest. And item handouts are all randomized, so you never know what you're going to get. Even the skill tree lets you get a random item at the start of every level, but you don't know what you're getting, so you don't have any control over it.
Oh, that's annoying.
Now granted, there's 4 characters, so You can swap between those characters at the start of each stage and choose who you want to play as if they have that element that you want or a type of item you want. So there's good freedom in there. And there's some like other ways to like ensure items. There's like a merchant that pops up in each stage about halfway point that gives you like 3 chests full of items to give you, you know, chance at other different things. And none of the items are bad. Let me put it that way. None of the items are bad. They're all really good items, but it's just a matter of when you're trying to do something specifically, like play as a red Ninjago character and kill enemies with fire damage, not being able to select, okay, I want to go in with a fire bow right now. SOL.
Okay, so
wait till next level.
It is interesting that they frame this as Lego Horizon Adventures and not Lego Horizon. I guess Adventures kind of adds some context where, because it's always been Zero Dawn or Forbidden West. But we're also comparing it to the TT games, who, as far as I know, didn't really have anything to do with this. Like, this was
correct.
Yeah, which is, and again, they should know that, because there's been like 20 years of Lego games that have like sort of an expectation surrounding them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this more, the more I look at this, the more it reminds me of Sackboy's Big Adventure, which was not a full blown Little Big Planet game. And again, those were something that people had kind of come to expect. But I feel like in the naming, they kind of established that. Whereas in this case, it's not, it doesn't seem like a full fledged Lego game, and it's obviously not a full fledged Horizon game. It's just somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. And it does, but the areas where it exceeds really well. It's just, I say this in my review, like there's going to be obvious comparisons to other Lego games. It's inevitable. Like it's going to happen regardless, because the visuals of it alone are going to make any kid picking this up is going to be like, why doesn't this Lego game do what Lego Batman does or Lego Marvel?
I mean,
does?
conversely,
like,
if some kid who loves Ninjago gets this for Christmas and hasn't ever played anything, they're probably going to lose their mind, and they're probably going to get into Horizon, and then they find out that, oh, hey, there's 2 more games that I can check out at the age of 13 or whatever that the ESRB recommends. Yeah.
But yeah, no, but yeah, like I really did enjoy. I had a lot of fun with it. It just left me wanting more, which is kind of the state of, that's kind of like when I go to review games, that's kind of where good generally falls. Good or great is like this, everything it does really well, but it doesn't have enough there. It doesn't go deep enough into these things. I wanted it to go deeper and have more, just for me to explore more, to have fun with. There's some cool challenges that, you know, have you like do things like go through a level dressed as a chicken without dying once. And so like, that's kind of cool. Like they put these little kind of like modifiers and stuff to earn more gold bricks and such. And then there's Apex hunts, which are stronger monster machines to fight and tougher battles. And that's, you know, where you'll find like, you know, a corrupted Thunderjaw and stuff like that you'll have to fight. And those are really good. But again, you can't replay those fights after you do them. You have to start a whole new file if you want to replay those. And that was just a real bummer. Finishing the game, they add what are called expeditions, where you basically just kind of traipse through entire level sections, but you don't know what's going to be in there. It's randomized, so that's kind of cool. So you never know. It kind of keeps things different. But, you know, if you're like, man, I really want to fight a Thunderjaw, can't do that. Like in Horizon, like on the map, it's like, hey, this is a Thunderjaw like location. You can go here and fight a Thunderjaw anytime you want. So I think it's a really good base and foundation from the build upon. I think if we do get a Lego Horizon Adventures 2, which seems, you know, depending on if this one does well enough, it seems like the tech is there, the foundation's there. It could really grow into something great. And I'd like to see that, because there's even more stuff they could include from Horizon 2. That would be a lot of fun. Forbidden West,
cool.
I should say.
Well, Jada, thank you for filling us in on that. And yeah, it sounds more or less exactly like what I thought it would be. I'm sure that, you know, people who are into Horizon and want something smaller would get a kick out of it. And, you know, at least it is a video game coming out this fall that is a new video game that is made by PlayStation. So there's that, you know, it's just something.